Karoline Leavitt walked into that conversation with confidence. She had her notes, her lines, her Fox News rhythm. She came ready to challenge Representative Jasmine Crockett like it was going to be a walk in the park. But what she didn't come ready for was reality. Because the moment she tried to poke the bear, she learned real quick Jasmine Crockett isn't the one. Let's rewind. Karoline, a former Trump White House staffer turned conservative commentator, has made a name for herself doing exactly what the right-wing echo chamber rewards. Talking fast, saying little, and framing debates like it's all theater. She's sharp, yes, but sometimes, sharpness without substance just cuts you. Now enter Jasmine Crockett, first-term Congresswoman, civil rights attorney, a woman who knows the law, knows the game, and most importantly, knows how to navigate both. Karoline thought she had an opening. She thought Crockett would stumble, maybe lose her cool. She thought wrong. The moment Leavitt tried to throw shade, probably thinking she was about to go viral, Crockett sat up, leaned in, and dismantled her argument one surgical sentence at a time. We're talking point by point. No fluff, no filter rebuttals. And here's the key. Crockett didn't just respond, she reframed. She didn't waste time on debate. She went straight to the heart of the issue. The hypocrisy, the deflection, and the performative politics that Leavitt was trying to peddle. Oh, so you're concerned about decorum now? Where was that concern when your party ignored subpoenas, cheered on insurrectionists, and let George Santos walk around with a fake resume like it was Halloween? That part wasn't in Karoline's script. She didn't come with facts. She came with vibes. And vibes don't work when your opponent comes prepared with actual congressional receipts. Let's be clear about what happened here. This wasn't just a clapback. It wasn't just a moment. This was an education. Because Jasmine Crockett doesn't just speak to win an argument. She speaks to expose the game. She sees the setup. And she doesn't just dodge it. She flips the table. You can almost hear the gears turning in Leavitt's head as she realized this wasn't a segment. This wasn't a podcast. This was live, and she was getting worked. And this is what a lot of pundits miss. They confuse camera presence for credibility. They think if they talk over you, they've out-argued you. But what Crockett did was remind people, especially women in politics, especially black women in Congress, that poise and power are not mutually exclusive. She didn't raise her voice. She raised the stakes. And here's where it gets deeper. Jasmine Crockett represents a new kind of leadership, a generation that's no longer content playing defense. She doesn't just sit in hearings to be polite, she participates to dismantle bad faith narratives and call BS when it walks in the room wearing a red tie and a smug grin. So when Karoline tried to ambush her with half-baked outrage and a sprinkle of Fox News talking points, Crockett didn't flinch, she thrived, and what's wild is, Karoline probably thought she won the moment. She might have smiled through it, maybe even posted a clip out of context, but anyone watching in full knew what they saw. They saw a rookie trying to throw hands with a heavyweight and getting bodied in real time. So the next time Karoline, or anyone else, thinks about challenging Jasmine Crockett on policy, truth, or even presence, they might want to do more than rehearse lines. They might want to study the syllabus, because Crockett isn't just ready. She's built for this. Because what we saw in that moment wasn't just a political takedown, it was a master class in discernment. See, there's a reason why some of the loudest voices in these debates never want to go head-to-head with someone like Jasmine Crockett in a setting where facts actually matter. Because the performance ends the moment someone shows up with precision. Crockett didn't come to entertain, she came to expose the double standards, the cherry-pick outrage, the tired cycle of conservative figures dressing up bad faith attacks as concern for the country. And let's talk about how Crockett plays the long game. She knows when to strike and when to let you talk yourself into a corner. That's exactly what happened here. Karoline kept swinging, but each line was thinner than the last. No substance, no strategy, just sound bites with a side of smugness. But Jasmine, she let the silence work. She let the facts do their job. She let Karoline unravel in front of an audience that knows the difference between performance and power. And there's a deeper layer to this, because moments like this don't just happen in isolation. They're part of a bigger pattern. one where women like Crockett are constantly underestimated, constantly interrupted, constantly challenged by people who believe their entitlement is more valid than her expertise. And yet, she doesn't fold. She doesn't just hold the line, she redefines it. This is a woman who came from the courtroom, who's been fighting systemic injustice long before there were cameras on her. So when someone like Karoline Leavitt steps into the conversation trying to score a cheap win for a highlight reel, Crockett's already read the playbook, and she's 3 moves ahead. And here's the thing Karoline probably still hasn't realized. That wasn't just a debate loss, that was a warning shot. Because Crockett isn't out here fighting for airtime, she's fighting for accountability. And when people watch that clip back, the full version, uncut, they're not seeing a flustered politician reacting. They're seeing a leader who doesn't just defend herself. She defends the truth, and she makes it look easy. So next time someone thinks about challenging Jasmine Crockett with half-baked narratives, and the confidence of someone who's never been fact-checked in real time, they better bring more than a script. They better bring the truth. Because Crockett, she stays ready. And she's not here to play polite politics. She's here to change the rules, one clapback at a time. And let's not forget, this wasn't just Crockett versus Leavitt. This was experience versus ambition without depth. This was law and lived reality versus media training and recycled sound bites. This was someone who's had to navigate real policy, real injustice, and real consequences, versus someone who's made a career out of avoiding all 3. Because when Karoline Leavitt walks into these conversations, she's not speaking to solve problems. She's speaking to score clips, to stoke outrage, to feed the algorithm. But Jasmine Crockett, she's not chasing clips. The clips chase her. Because when you speak truth from the trenches, when you live the work, there's nothing more compelling than reality spoken clearly. And that's what made this moment go viral. Not because of theatrics, not because of shouting, but because people saw clarity. Crockett didn't need to match Leavitt's energy. She contained it. She broke down her points like a teacher correcting a student mid-presentation, gently, precisely, but without giving an inch. There's something powerful about watching someone wield intelligence like a scalpel, because in that room, Crockett didn't just push back, she dissected. The narrative, the game, the entire performance. And let's zoom out. What does it say when a rising Republican figure like Karoline, with full media backing, can walk into a space, deliver her best shot, and still walk away, looking like she didn't do the reading? It says we're watching the limits of the soundbite strategy. It says the public is tired of style without substance. It says if you're going to talk about policy, race, law, and the future of democracy, you better come with more than confidence. You better come correct. Because Crockett, she doesn't just bring facts. She brings fireproof logic. And every time someone tries to talk over her, talk around her, or dismiss her, she burns the script. And here's where it gets personal for the system. Jasmine Crockett isn't just challenging her political opponents. She's challenging a structure that has always underestimated people who look like her, speak like her, and fight like her. She's rewriting what leadership sounds like. She's showing that poise isn't weakness, and professionalism isn't passivity. It's power. And that scares them, because Crockett doesn't give them what they're used to. She doesn't back down. She doesn't apologize for being brilliant and blunt. She doesn't shrink herself to fit into someone else's mold of what a congresswoman is supposed to be. She defines it. And when she speaks, you listen, not because she's loud, but because she's right. So if Karoline Leavitt or anyone else thinks the path to influence is paved with slogans and smirks, they're going to keep getting run over by the people who actually do the work. People like Jasmine Crockett, who walk into these rooms with history behind them and leave with the mic in their hand.